What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a good day whenever and wherever you're watching this. It is Jim Galvin back here again today with a new video, specifically as the first in a short series teaching you guys how to best and most optimally prepare for the military, most specifically the Royal Marines. As a bit of context for what qualifies me to do this, I spent 4.5 to 5 years in the Royal Marines between the middle of 2008 to the end of 2012, during which time I spent 4 months in Iraq and about 7 months in Afghanistan. So hopefully I've got some kind of value to add. So today I want to kick things off straight away with something that is completely overlooked and misunderstood in military preparation training, and that is strength. Now, strength training, more specifically lifting weights, can elicit a lot of negative emotions in the military preparation community. People start to think about big hench jack bodybuilders that can't even walk up the stairs without sweating, and you start to think, well, if that's the way that I train, then I'm not going to be functional and I'm not going to be very good at doing my job. So what it's probably best to address straight away is not everyone that lifts weights ends up looking like that and ends up being as unfunctional as a typical on-stage bodybuilder. And if we in the military, and especially as Royal Marines commandos, were never required to lift anything, never required to have a heavy burden on our back, lifting jerry cans, heavy weapons, getting in and out of vehicles, climbing ropes, in and out of helicopters, then strength work might not be particularly relevant, but we are required to do all of those things. So we do need to be strong in the forces, and it makes sense to build those foundations before you start commando training. Guys, all that strength is your ability to exert force over a particular resistance. And again, that resistance could be heavy jerry cans that you've got to lift. It could be one of your oppos that you're chucking on your back for a fireman's carry. It could be your own body weight when you need to climb up a rope or do a regain. It could be some GPMG link and grenades in your bag. One of the best ways that I can describe strength training for people that are preparing for the military, most specifically prepping for the Royal Marines, is luckily there's a fairly short list of what's called fundamental movement patterns that the human body can actually do. However, being in a complete three-dimensional environment as military training and military operations are, we are required to be both strong and fit and able in all of those movements. Squat, hinge, push, pull, lunge, climb, sprint, crawl. All the strength training is designed to do is get you better at overcoming resistance in any of those movement patterns. The military here in the UK can be incredibly flipping painfully old school in their approach to fitness and conditioning and the kind of things you need to do to prepare. It might be now in the early stages of 2021 a little bit different, but when I joined 1,000,001 years ago, when the world was still in black and white in 2008, it was very different. And we were literally told, go and run on the road, learn to run up a hill, do press-ups, pull-ups and sit-ups. And that was it, literally like something from the flipping 1860s. And again, luckily, the world of strength and conditioning has evolved so much since then. And I think that that's started to seep through. But I don't know whether or not you guys, realistically and honestly now, as people being that are investigating and pursuing a little bit more knowledge of how to train properly and how to optimize your preparation, I don't know whether or not you're going to be getting this good quality, up-to-date information, which is why I want to communicate this to you now. And I'm sure that extremely simplistic approach that we used to get told, 12, 13 years ago, probably would still work and it might get you through. But you guys have to ask yourself the question of whether or not you just want to get through or whether or not you want to smash it. And they're two very, very different things. I'm not just trying to help give you some information that's going to get you to pass. I'm trying to give you information and value and context that's going to help optimize your preparation. So you not only get in, but you get in properly, you're fit and healthy at the end of it, and you absolutely smash the physical side of things. So with that, guys, all of the movement patterns that I've just mentioned could, in theory, be put into one session. But I prefer to do a little bit of a conditioning piece at the end of strength sessions. So it's probably best if all the kind of the 8 or 9 movement patterns that I'd mentioned a minute ago, imagine splitting those across 3 different sessions. So if we look at 3 of those today, say push, pull and hinge, that's a great place to start. Let's crack right on. So that is step 1 done. We have selected the appropriate movement patterns for the session, those 3, push, pull, hinge. The next step is to select an appropriate exercise for each of those movement patterns. Let's start with hinge. Developing a strong, what's called posterior chain, which is the chain of muscles of your lower back, your glutes, basically your bum muscles, and your hamstrings is absolutely imperative in the ability to bend over and pick things up without absolutely crucifying your spine. Back injuries are one of the most common reasons why Royal Marine recruits either bail out of training, get back trooped, or finish training but are in an absolute crap state when they do it. It's imperative to be stable, strong, and quick during times when you're yomping, running, climbing over a wall, doing anything on the assault course. Again, the Royal Marine training environment is completely three-dimensional, so to be able to go through all of these movements and execute them properly while protecting your lower back is absolutely crucial to making sure you come out the other side of it nice and strong and healthy. So let's start with the most classic of hinge movements, and that is the deadlift. Check this out. In regards to how somebody either preparing for entry into the forces or even during military service should execute this, I recommend building up to, say, a heavy set of, let's say 6 reps, do 4 working sets at this, and then you finish off with a 5th set, which is a lot lighter, and you do a little burner set of about 20. So there you go, guys, that is hinge, the first movement pattern done and in the bag and smashed out. Good job. We are now moving on to the second movement pattern, push. Guys, here is a myth that I'm going to bust straight away. Your ability to do a high number of press-ups is going to go through the roof. It is seriously going to improve if you develop what's called your horizontal push strength. So horizontal push, as you can kind of see in this movement here, that range, if you develop your ability to exert more and more and more force, as your strength goes up, your strength endurance will also go up. There's no way it can't really. That is the science behind it. So in addition to just being able to do 100 press-ups and trying to get to a stage where you can do 110, it's a lot healthier for your joints and a lot better for your body overall if you try and get a little bit more strength, heavier version or heavier way of performing that movement. So let's go for a couple of slight tweaks on Old Faithful, the classic that is the bench press. Check this out. So here, as you can see, guys, we have bench press. We're going to make a couple of tiny tweaks on this. The first thing we're going to do is make your core work a little bit harder by not placing your feet on the ground. What you're going to do is you're actually going to lift your feet off the floor. And what that does, it makes everything a little bit more wobbly, which means everything down the spine, that pillar of strength down the middle of the body, that midline, has to work a little bit harder. All those tiny little stabilizers have to start firing and kicking in and working and activating to make sure that you stay in a straight line. The second tweak we're going to make is this. On every single rep, when the bar comes down and touches the chest, you're going to give it a 2-second pause. Press-ups are done nice and dynamically. As soon as you drop down, you shoot straight back up, and it's good to have that elasticity in the muscles. But you want to actually get that better and improve that side of things. One of the best things you can do is start to introduce these pause reps into your program. A lot of the time in commando training, when you are in the gym or on bottom field or on exercise, or in the grots, or literally next to your pit, or wherever you're getting beasted, which, trust me, can be anywhere, a lot of the time you're expected to hold what's called front support play. So the top of a press-up position, you're expected to be able to hold that position there, both at the top and at the bottom. And holding that position at the bottom and maintaining a little bit of tension but staying nice and solid is imperative. Again, you want to be able to do this stuff properly. I don't just want every single one of you guys right now listening to this to pass and scrape through.
Here at the finish. As soon as she crosses,
I want to be the guy that made sure that you got PT superior. Following the same kind of system and process as the hinge movement on deadlift, guys, what we are going to do is we are going to do 4 heavy sets of 6. Then we're going to drop the weight down a little bit. And what you are going to do is you are going to do a 5th set, a lot lighter, and you're going to bash out 20 reps just to get a bit of a pump, get some bloody growth hormone into that area, and then enjoy the benefits of both the strength side and a little bit of functional muscle gain as well. 2 movement patterns down, 1 to go. We are on to pull. Third and final exercise and movement pattern of this strength session, guys. Pull movement is the key here, and basically it can be broken down like this. You can do either a horizontal pull, which imagine you're on some kind of rowing movement and you pull towards you that way, or you can do a vertical pull, which is where your arms are above and you are effectively pulling your elbows down to your ribs. The vertical pull is much more neglected in conventional gym settings, but basically, I'll be honest with you now, it's much more important than horizontal pull for us, and the reason for that is we have to do so many flipping rope climbs. Even though you guys might be climbing a rope perfectly, you hook your feet in properly, you dig your heels together, you drive up and the legs are doing most of the work. Don't be naive with it. There still has to be a hell of a lot of strength in your arms and in your lats and in your mid-back and the stabilizers around your shoulders to make sure you're getting up that rope quick. Both in the gym and in bottom field, rope climbs are one of the parts of physical training in the Royal Marines that are fundamental throughout. You don't get to get fit for 4 months before you start doing them. You're pretty much doing them straight away. But sticking to an Old Faithful here, currently during lockdown in the UK, at least this is a little bit more accessible than doing rope climbs if you don't have a flipping rope bracket in your garden. We're gonna go with some pull-ups. But if you guys are smashing out 15, 20 pull-ups, getting to 25, again, it's not gonna make you stronger. What you wanna do is you wanna overcome more and more and more resistance. And the way that we're gonna do that is what I'm gonna show you now. There is the classic, guys. You can have a weight belt on, wrap a dumbbell or a kettlebell and pull yourself up that way. Or what you can do if you have a resistance band, which I know a lot of people do at the moment, one of the most versatile kind of training tools that anyone can use in any setting, you guys, Royal Marine or military recruits in the making included in that, is basically root something to something heavy so the band's not gonna move, lanyard it to the floor in some way, wrap the band around your waist, and then the closer you get to the top of the pull-up bar, basically, the closer your chest, your sternum gets to the bar, which is the way that we want to do the standard military style reps, it means there's more and more and more resistance on the band. So you are overcoming more and more and more resistance the closer you get to finishing the movement, and then basically just make sure that you can control it on the way down. So add either as much weight or as much band resistance as is necessary for you guys to be able to achieve 4 sets of 6 reps again, but again, those 6 reps have to be challenging. If you can do 20 bodyweight pull-ups, don't do 4 sets of 6 now, because you're not gonna be getting any stronger. You need to find a way to get the pull-ups to be harder. But as I said at the beginning of the video, I like to finish even my strength sessions with a little bit of conditioning piece. We've got to be fit, we've got to be healthy, we've got to be mobile. So it's good, again, very, very appropriate and consistent and congruent with military training, that at the end of something like that, you can still function and you can still operate. So a little bit of short and sharp work to finish it off, cannot go wrong. Very rarely is military conditioning stuff done on the spot, so what I'm gonna do is do a little bit of stuff with you now that requires some lifts and some moves and some carries. And that, in my opinion, is the absolutely foundational part of kind of the link between strongman style conditioning work and military stuff, because it just makes you all round robust. You cannot go wrong, and trust me, if you get this stuff in, guys, now, you will absolutely smash it in the gym, you'll smash it on bottom field, you'll make a name for yourself, and you will make sure that you stay fit and healthy throughout training. Surely that's the goal. Enjoy this little montage, guys, and please do tune in for my next video. If you have not yet done so, please like this video, please subscribe, and please, 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 the best thing you can do, the most noble and honorable thing you can do, share this video with someone just like you that can also get some value from this message and this kind of education. Have an amazing day, guys, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.